For this one, I'm going to give a historical dive into it. So I'm going to be talking for a bit over lots of parts in this video. So yeah, just a warning. Okay, I thought of showing this video. I know what you're going to say. AI, yes, I am showing it. I'm not the generally the biggest fan or even hater of it, but this is the Democratic Party from Jackson to today. So before I start, I'll say that a lot of things have changed in the party, which made it to what it is today. The way I think of it is the most important leaders and revolutionary ones at the time, are what really made the party. So when Andrew Jackson was president, he was the most influential Democrat, so everyone obviously wanted to be like him. But then later, you have someone like Andrew Johnson, who, to be honest, he's pretty much one of the worst presidents ever. And the only reason he got in the spot was because Lincoln died. So they did have him. Then they had Grover Cleveland, who I actually do like. Sadly, I don't think the time was truly ready for how important his role could have been in the future. Then they had Woodrow Wilson, absolute garbage. They had FDR. He's a little different because a lot of people think he's the one of the greatest presidents ever. I think it's just that because of Herbert Hoover not bothering to really do much about the Great Depression was the reason why FDR's solution at least was something. It's not that it was the best idea, it's that he was at least offering an idea that could help, which Herbert Hoover himself wasn't at the time, which is why FDR was voted in 4 times and was popular. Then you have people like JFK, who I think his handling of many situations was actually extremely great, and sadly his presidency was cut short. Then you have the most influential Democrat of today, I believe. It would have to be Obama, because every Democrat from now on is just like an extension of Obama's policy. It's just usually more radicalized, even further left than Obama's era was at the time. So, anyways, let's go into this.
What up, America? It's
Yep.
Andrew Jackson, that guy you roll up to hit some powder. I
Yep.
founded the Democrat Party and chose the jackass as our mascot. Now, as you can probably tell, times have changed a bit from the party back in my day, and present-day Democrats will come to hate me, but that's your problem.
Oh, fun fact. If you hate Andrew Jackson, the best thing you could do to show your hatred towards him is actually keep him on the $20 bill. That's a very odd fact, but Andrew Jackson did not like big banks. He hated them with every part of his guts. So yeah, little fact.
Jackson started the Democrat Party to appeal to the common man. Democrats today sometimes
Shit.
give him credit.
Okay, now we get to General Lee. The thing about General Lee was he was appointed as Abraham Lincoln was willing to appoint him into being the leader of the Union. But what happened was that General Lee sided with his state. And I think putting him here, and the thing is, General Lee wasn't really a slavery guy. He just wanted to protect his state. And I think General Lee is one of the more noble people in the South, where after the entire war was finished, Ulysses S. Grant and General Lee were, to be honest, pretty close. And Grant literally told President at the time, Andrew Johnson, do not kill General Lee. And yeah, I'd say he's one of the figures that a lot of people throw a lot of shade at without knowing the context of why he wanted to do a lot of his stuff. Like, obviously, keeping slavery is bad. What he wanted to do was protect his state, which is why he joined the South.
For that, but only after calling him an evil white bigot. Needless to
Yep.
say, the party started off pretty sketchy by today's standards.
Mm-hmm.
We were by far the pro-slavery party all the way through the Civil War.
That is pretty true. Like, there were obviously Republicans that some of them were a little iffy on the slavery issue, but in general sense, a lot of the Democrats actually were pro-slavery, where the Republicans was mainly on the basis of wanting to either end slavery outright or end the expansion of it. That was pretty much their main goal, which later changed to nearly ending all slavery during Lincoln, then eventually ending all slavery in general.
After the war, we cleaned up our act and supported the North's Reconstruction efforts. Totally kidding, we doubled down on racism and became the party of the Klan.
I'll tell you why. Woodrow Wilson showed a film called Birth of a Nation in the White House. And dude, Woodrow Wilson single-handedly fucked up everything Grant as a president did. Grant did all that hard work to destroy the KKK just for Woodrow Wilson to bring it back stronger than it ever possibly could ever was, all because he showed that film there and thought it was a great film. Single-handedly bringing the KKK into an enormous amount of power. What he did was absolute ass. What he did was absolute ass and a very piece of shit move.
But seriously, we didn't have much of a platform after the war, except Jim Crow, but that was until our boy came in hot on his rollerblades.
Then came the Depression. People lost trust in markets, so I wheeled in
yeah.
to drastically expand communism across the country, and Democrats been hooked ever since.
Oh yeah, FDR was very big into government policies. Here's at least something that a lot of people don't take into account, which is Herbert Hoover didn't really give a solution, didn't really give a actual good solution to the people during the Great Depression, which is why FDR was actually as popular as he was. It's not that FDR's idea was the best one possible or the best thing imaginable. It's that Herbert Hoover didn't even have an idea to begin with. So he was pretty much the obvious choice at the time. Pick FDR because his idea he actually has an idea to begin with on how to fix it. But yeah, he's one of the most influential Democratic presidents of all time, and he does deserve that spot, to be honest.
Up until this point, blacks had always voted Republican as they were the party that freed the slaves. But after FDR's New Deal, blacks swung 75% Democrat. This was a complete realignment, not because of civil rights, but because of economics. All while the Democrats were still the party of the Klan, and their stronghold was the South.
We pushed segregation throughout the South and filibustered the 1964 Civil Rights Act for 75 days.
Now, as for this part, 1964, this is after JFK died. And JFK, I believe he definitely would have helped with civil rights far further than he did if he was not assassinated. So it's a tragedy that actually fucked up the Democratic Party for the worse, because JFK was not there anymore. Not only that, but RFK was also dead. Marilyn Monroe was also dead. A lot of the JFK family just straight up died pretty much at the same time. I almost forgot to say on this part, but JFK was actually working on lots of civil rights. That's why, like, when black students were being put into previously segregated schools, they actually had people protecting them. JFK was doing a lot for civil rights, which is actually purposefully misleading in this part. They did not at all say that. But I think the Democratic Party, if JFK lived and served a second term, would have helped a lot at this point in time.
It wasn't until Republicans stepped up and found even more votes to pass the bill. So ask yourself, how are Democrats seen as the party of the civil rights? Well, it's because
Democrats are very persuasive.
Oh, that's fucking dirty. That was absolutely dirty. If you don't know who that is, that's Monica Lewinsky. Oh, that's Bill Clinton. That's the girl Bill Clinton told to get under the desk. Oh, that was absolutely dirty. That was abso-fucking-lutely dirty, man. Like, it's both fucked up and funny, but it was absolutely disgusting. But man, you got me. You fucking got me with that one.
But again, it ultimately boils down.
Oh no. And she's cleaning her mouth. Oh shit. Shit, man, that was. Oh. Okay, let's just move on.
Down to economic incentives. Once Democrats realized the power of government spending and handouts, you can appeal to any voter group and lock them in.
1, 2, 3.
Gays for Palestine.
Good luck with that.
So anyway, to sum it all up, my party has changed a shit ton, but it's not because of the mythical party switch. Democrats.
Oh, I'll tell you, it's not a party switch. It's literally just the parties. Whoever is an influential enough president to make the rest of the party reevaluate their views is exactly like what happened. For example, Abraham Lincoln was for the Republicans. For example, that's why you hear names for the Republicans like Abraham Lincoln, but then you also hear people like Ronald Reagan. You know, people like that. People that had such an impact that it changed the entire way the party worked. And then for the Democrats, they had people like Andrew Jackson. They had people like JFK. You know, people like that absolutely changed the entirety of the party. It's not that the parties just mythically switched every single one of their views one day, because that's not true. It's just over time they changed because the leaders at the time dictated a different era of those parties. Like, for example, neither of the parties today accept slavery, whereas back then, like, you know, it was actually something accepted. But yeah, the mythical party switch is not true. It never happened. It's just they changed over time.
Democrats controlled the South all the way through the 1990s. But they did adopt new policies like massive social spending and welfare programs that allowed them to appeal to more diverse voting groups. What up, America? It's Andrew.
Yeah, that part is true. That is basically FDR's influence. The Democrats love FDR, which is why things like that happened. But yeah, overall kind of interesting video. If I had to give you probably a list of the worst Democrats, they could have chosen better. Woodrow Wilson, Andrew Johnson. Like, you would just say Woodrow Wilson and Andrew Johnson, and nobody should disagree with you on that list entirely, right there. Like, you would just say those two. You know, you showed Andrew Jackson, which he but here's my simple opinion, which is too many of the radical people have hijacked the Democratic Party to basically be a representation of all their views that are completely like radical in every sense of the word. Like, if you fit all their criteria, you can basically get away with all crimes and all shitty actions you do because you're a specific race, color, or sexual orientation. I think the problem is the party was hijacked. The Democrats need to take their party back. Or also, before I end this, I want to tell you some irony that is with the modern Democrats that I always found to be ironic, which is there was a party called the Whig Party, and the whole party's existence was, we hate Andrew Jackson. We hate Andrew Jackson. They had pretty much nothing else in common in terms of belief or political ideas outside of them just hating President Andrew Jackson. And the irony of that is that's what the Democratic Party became to Trump. And what's even more ironic is that President Trump's favorite president is Andrew Jackson. So that by itself is like a rewriting of history, except far later in a way. But yeah, that's all.